Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm filling in for Roy this week. As we leave 2025 behind and we jump into 2026, I'm reminded of the analogy of a car to help us remember how to treat our past and our future. This analogy has really stuck with me, so I want to share it with you. In a car, the rear view and side mirrors are relatively small. We use them to see what is behind us. When learning to drive, we're taught to glance in the rear view and side mirrors, but to not keep our focus there for too long. It can be helpful to glance at the mirrors, but if our focus remains there, we're likely to wreck. Thinking about these mirrors can help us to remember that only a small part of our thoughts should be focused on our past. It's okay to think about our past, but we shouldn't get stuck there and miss out on all the good things God has planned for us now and in the future. We glance back, but we keep our focus forward. Have you ever met someone who didn't seem to be able to move past the glory days of younger years? For example, maybe they were a great athlete in high school and they love reliving those times. It's okay to think about fond memories, but we need to move on and discover what God has for us now and in the future. Some of us have painful memories in our past. Perhaps when you lie down at night, your mind automatically replays horrible things that have happened to you or the shame of mistakes you've made. It's important that we don't get fixated on past mistakes, disappointments, or difficulties. We can learn from our past. We can grow from our past. We can even honor our past, but we must not be held captive by our past. Now, you might be thinking, but doesn't the Bible tell us to remember? For example, God tells the Israelites over and over to remember their captivity in Egypt. But let's look at one of those verses a little more closely. Deuteronomy 5:15 says, "Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord your God brought you out from there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm." What God is telling the people is to remember how He rescued them and brought them through the difficult escape from Egypt. He doesn't want them to be stuck in the past. He wants them to remember how He took care of them in the past, and He wants the same for us. There are also verses where God talks about letting go of the past and moving forward. Isaiah 43:18 and 19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing." In Philippians 3:13 and 14, Paul says, "Forgetting what is behind and reaching toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal." Now back to the car analogy. The front windshield is large. This is where we need to put our focus when we're driving. You might remember that when you were learning to drive, you were taught to look 12 to 15 seconds, or about a city block, in front of you. This is because we need to look far enough down the road to have ample time to react to hazards, but we don't want to look too far ahead. We can glance further down the road, but our focus should stay 12 to 15 seconds ahead of the car. This reminds us that we need to look forward, but not too far into the future. If we focus too far into the future, we might miss what God is doing right in front of us. Our focus should be on the next step. We don't need to worry too much about where we will end up. We can trust God to lead us on the path that is best for us. After all, only God knows our past, our present, and our future. Yes, He gives us free will to make our own decisions, but He's not bound by time. He already knows everything that is going to happen. Sometimes I put God in a box by trying to tell Him exactly what I want to see happen in the future. Instead, I need to ask God to guide me one step at a time. In other words, keep my focus just ahead and leave the long-term outcome to Him. I have found that God will often surprise me by doing something completely unexpected that I didn't even imagine. If 2025 was a difficult year for you, take heart. Keep your focus on God through prayer and spending lots of time in His Word, and ask Him to show you the next step in your journey. You can trust Him to keep you on the right path. Until next time, I wish you safe driving, both literally and spiritually, and keep walking with Jesus.